Boys and girls, we're going to read another biography, which is a true story of somebody's life. This is called Hellen Keller, Break Down the Walls by Margaret Fetty. An amazing speech. Hellen stood before a crowded room in Montclair, New Jersey. She was 32 years old. For the first time in her life, she was giving a lecture to a large group of people. Hellen was terrified. Her voice was rough. She spoke in a whisper. At times, it was hard to understand her. The audience had to listen carefully. And it says right here, the first appearance on the lecture platform of Hellen Keller and her teacher, Miss Macy, Ann M. Sullivan, says the heart and the hand. Hellen's speech amazed the audience. It was the first public talk given by Hellen Keller, a woman who had been deaf and blind for most of her life. It says right here, Hellen could tell when the audience liked her speech. Their clapping hands would cause the floor to vibrate. She could feel the vibrations with her feet. Now, do you know anyone who's blind and deaf? I've had a student who was blind. I've had students who were deaf. I have never had a student that was blind and deaf. That means they cannot see, she cannot see, and she cannot hear. Mysterious illness. It took great courage for Hellen to speak in front of a crowd, yet Hellen had an important message to share. She wanted people to know that blind and deaf people should get an education. Not being able to see or hear was something Hellen knew a lot about. After all, she had been blind and deaf since she was 19 months old. Hellen could see and hear when she was a baby. So I want you to think about things in your life that you may have done that would have taken great courage. Hellen grew up in this house in Tuscumbia, Alabama. When Hellen was born on June 27, 1880, she was a healthy baby. Then, in February 1882, a mysterious illness made Hellen very sick. She had a high fever. When the sickness ended, Hellen was not able to see or hear. A dark and silent world. Since Hellen could not hear or see people speak, she did not learn how to talk. Hellen used her hands and her body to communicate. Communicate means to get her feelings across. If Hellen wanted bread, she would pretend to cut slices and spread butter. If she wanted someone to come with her, she would pull on the person. It says, this is Captain Arthur Keller, Hellen's father, and Kate Heller, Hellen's mother. Hellen helped do chores around the house. She folded the family's clean clothes and put them away. How could Hellen do chores if she's not able to see what she's doing? And this is a picture of Hellen when she's around the age of 7. Even in her dark and silent world, Hellen knew she was different. By feeling faces, she could tell that people moved their lips to communicate. Hellen became frustrated because she could not do the same. As a result, Hellen grew wild. She often kicked and screamed in anger. Do you think that Hellen's parents punished her for kicking and screaming? I wonder what you would do. It would have to be so frustrating to not be able to get people to know what you needed. Tomorrow we'll continue reading more about Hellen Keller. Thank you.